thank you so much. I am honored that Nami included me in this. She probably heard my accent and said, you are perfect for this job. So let's see what happens. So it was 1983. It was at Des Moines Airport, March, and suddenly I heard, Yupari, we're looking for you. And I thought, oh no, they found me. They found me, they saw, they know I escaped. So going back 3 months before that, let me tell you how I got to that thriller movie. Ended up that back in the day, my parents said, okay, you're all going to the United States to go to college. And back in the day, there were these exchange students programs, and the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, were the ones holding it. And so my brothers were sent to Texas, and it was my turn, and I was sent to Iowa, Milton, Iowa. Oh my gosh, it was January. And I was freezing my Peruvian bones off. And I thought, oh no, this cannot be America. I mean, America was Dallas, the streets of San Francisco, but here I am in Iowa. And I said, there's no way I'm going to college here. No way. So I told my parents, nope. And they looked at me. I don't know if you know, but when you're that young from Latin America, you don't tell your parents no. I mean, that's just not in the place. So I said, okay, well, I don't like Iowa. It's just horrible. And you go, okay, fine. This is what you're going to do. Before you come back to Peru, I want you to go to Texas and see your brother and see if you like any of the universities over there. And I said, but I'm in Iowa. Yeah. So, go to the airport, leave your group, buy yourself a ticket, and make it to Texas. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, that sounds really good. And mind you, I was 15 years old. So I said, okay, I can do this. So here I was in Des Moines, and the chaperone just left us there. And I tell my group, and I said, listen, the chaperone just left, so this is my turn. I gotta go. And they're like, where are you going? I'm going to Texas. I'm going to Texas because I gotta go find myself a university. And they're like, but you're not. I'm like, no, we're going to Miami because you have to go back to Peru. And I said, I know, but my parents told me I have to go. So I looked at everybody and I said, bye, I'm leaving. So I am walking by the airport and I'm thinking, okay, I gotta go buy myself a ticket. And I see this counter of Pan Am, and I'm thinking, Pan Am, I mean, it's gotta be the largest, and of course you probably don't know about Pan Am, right? Yeah, it used to be the largest airline back in the day. So I went into Pan Am and I said, I need a ticket to Texas. And the woman looks at me and he goes, Texas? He goes, yeah, Texas. He goes, we're in Texas. And I'm thinking, what? There's more than one airport in Texas? I mean, if you want to go to Peru, you say a ticket to Peru, and there's only one airport in and one airport out. So I said, how could it be? Texas have more than one airport. So I said, I didn't have a cell phone. There was no way to call my brother. And I thought, I don't know. It just seems like they talk about this place, Houston. So I said, just give me a ticket to Houston. And I was so nervous, right? And she looks at me and she goes, okay, it's $99. And I said, okay. So I flipped my shiny $100 bill and I said, here it is. She gave me this little paper. I don't know, you probably don't know about the papers, but there was like a little paper ticket. And she gave it to me. And I looked at him like, well, that wasn't that hard. So I started walking out. I'm thinking, obviously, back in the day, they didn't, being a 15-year-old, buying a ticket with cash, raised absolutely no flags, right? Back in the day. So I'm walking, I'm thinking, I did it. I was so proud. I'm like, oh, man. And I'm walking down, and I heard it. Yupari, we're looking for you. And I thought, oh, shit. Oh, no. Dios mío, me encontraron. They found me. What am I going to do? And I said, what would a good fugitive would do? go to the bathroom. Go hide in the bathroom, right? Nobody can find me in the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom literally and just stayed there. And then I couldn't hear it anymore. So I said, okay, that's it. I'm saved. So I came out of the bathroom and I'm walking to my gate and I hear again, Yupari, we're looking for you. And I said, how can it be? How can they be looking for me? I imagine, seriously, like Born Identity. They found me. They could hear on the speakers. They have the entire, I guess they didn't have eyes, thank God, back in the day. But, some equivalent. And so I was so nervous, and I'm walking. I get to the gate, and I'm like, walking with hair like this. I'm thinking nobody's going to recognize me. I'm a 15-year-old Latina walking by themselves. No red flags again. So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, this is it. This is it. I made it. They called in, and I went into the plane, and I got in, and it was amazing. I sat there, and I was just like, I did it. I was so proud. I was a 15-year-old. I really escaped immigration. I went all the way to the plane. I bought my own ticket. I was so super proud of myself. But I was still so nervous because I was thinking, looking at the door, like, is they coming? Are they coming for me? They're going to be coming for me. Finally, they closed the door. I went to Texas. And I came out, and I see my brother waiting for me. Back the day, you can go on the gate. So he was waiting for me. And I looked at him, and I said, I will never, ever do what you guys said. I can't believe you had the idea that I could go by myself. I was so nervous. They were all looking for me. And he goes, who was looking for you? I don't know. I think the chaperone must have told everybody. They probably told the immigration, the police. They were all looking. And I escaped. It was so nerve-wracking. And he goes, really? And then I heard it again. Yupari, we're looking for you. And I thought, no way. How could they made it all the way here? And my brother looks at me like this, like, I don't know if you have older brothers, but like, that was dumb. And I said, do you hear it? Ricardo, do you hear it? And he goes, Rosa, they're saying, your party is looking for you. And I said, oh my God, what does that mean? He goes, your party. He goes, it's just very nice people. They don't have cell phones, right? I didn't know that. And they're trying to put family members together. And they're saying, your party is looking for you. And I said, but it sounded like your party is looking for you. So anyway, I could have never forgotten that. It was just such a reminder that I really needed to learn English. And after that, I realized that Yupari sounds like you party. And sounds like you party. I mean, anyway, that was my story. It was a whole thriller for a 15-year-old escaping immigration. Thank you so much.